Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Manuel, and welcome to another episode of Nights at the Round Table. I am so excited because today we're going to be talking with Kev on stage, one of the funniest dudes we know, and his beautiful wife, Melissa. Man, we talk about everything regarding marriage, chasing your dreams, kids, all the good stuff. It's going to be an amazing episode. Hey, and you can catch us also this episode on CastBox, the best app for Power Podcast listeners. Download it at castbox.fm or in the App Store. And of course, y'all, this is going to be an amazing episode. This is Nights at the Round Table. Hey, we're just going to get right into it. Since I already started it, I don't even care. I'm going to leave all this in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it all in. Let's keep it raw. Let's keep it thorough. I think there's a lot of grace because it's Corona time. There's a whole lot of grace for these kind of things. You know what I'm saying? So welcoming Kev on stage and Melissa, which the on stages. I love that.
The Fredericks, but they are the on stages.
The on stages. I love it. You want to give their intro, baby?
You guys, okay. So I have been a fan of Kev for a minute, and I'm trying to remember. I can't even remember how I found you. Somebody must have sent me a video or tagged me or something, and I was like, yo, this guy is so funny. And then I think maybe I messaged you on Instagram or something. Is that how it was? I was I was saying we have a lot in common. We would probably be friends. I'm gonna think we need to be friends. So let me send this guy a message. And then so we started connecting on the DMs. And then I remember one time I was like, can you give me your wife's phone number? Because I want to text her and be her friend. And then you gave me your wife's phone number.
That's the funniest thing ever. I want to be her friend too.
That's how I am though too. Like I like your friend, follow you and then comment a gazillion times until you notice. Are we friends yet?
Yeah. Is this real? Are we a thing? Did you all circle yes and send it back? Because I feel it. We connected. And so been a big fan of Kev and getting to know him and Melissa virtually. And like we were saying offline, I think it was offline, that we never get to hang out because we're always on the road in different places. And now we're both home, but we're not allowed to hang out. So...
we have cosmic parents telling us we need to stay home.
Yes. Well, we got to do for the greater good. But we are so excited to have you guys on, one, because we've been wanting to connect with you for a long time, but also like there's so many things. We love to share our life, and I know you guys do as well, and we love to learn from people and share our experiences. And so even just in our text messages, like we'd be like, how do y'all do this? How do you handle this? So this is like a perfect opportunity to share that with everyone. But for our audience and for us, can you share with us a little bit just how you guys met, your love story real quick of how the on stages came?
We met in daycare. We were both 2 years old.
I hate you.
That's how long we've been together. No, we met in high school. Miss Chapman's U.S. History, 11th grade, Lakes High School, first day of school. I love telling this story. I fell in love with Melissa from the first moment I laid eyes on her. Heart palpitations, butterflies, heart eyes. And then somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, can you hand this girl a note? And it was my arch nemesis. And I handed her the note. She opened it, closed it, put it under her book. And I was like, boom, he already got shut down. So you're telling me there's a chance. Then I found out we rode the same bus. We lived in the same neighborhood, literally about a minute and a half walk, maybe two minutes. She lived literally the next block over. Both of our dads were in the military, stationed at Fort Lewis. She lived on Cooper Drive. I lived on Garcia Boulevard. And
that was good detail.
Yeah. And then I was trying to date her. I thought we were dating. I asked her out on May 1st, 2000. Thought we were dating. So put your knee up a little more. I used to do this thing where I'm putting the laptop down just for a second. Okay. Or I would do this to girls when I liked them. I would do this and it would tickle them. And they'd be like, ooh, I like you, boy. I swear I like you like you like me. So I did this to her and she was like, yo, what are you doing? And I was like, I thought we boyfriend, girlfriend. She was like, no. And I was like, what? So we haven't been dating for 2 weeks? She was like, no. So
Wait, what you thought that 1 minute walks was
I
about?
was like, why did you think I was walking you home? If not for my love for you, my unprofessed love for you. So luckily, on May 15th, her cousin Tony, who was my boy, we used to play basketball together and all this stuff. He was like, come on, Liz, just go out with my boy Kev. He's a good guy. Come on, Liz, this is great, man. Just go out with Kev, man. He's a good guy. She grabbed my hand. She was like, okay, Tony, I will date him. Are you happy now? Dang. And she threw my hand. And that's how we started dating. And I didn't even care. I was like, literally, I will take what, I got a pinky toe.
You're like,
toenail
did she see,
in
you
the
see she
door.
grabbed my hand though?
Yes. And we have not broken
though?
up from that day, May 15, 2000.
Wow.
So that'll be 20 exactly
years.
20 years next month.
Next month.
Dang, y'all
Your
decades
ability
into this.
to remember details and dates is impressive.
That is.
The only dates I remember of us is our wedding date and the day we became boyfriend and girlfriend, because we made it a cute little thing. It was October 4th, 10/4. So we would go 10/4.
10-4.
We're so cheesy.
That's great. I love that.
10/4.
And I remember when we made it official, because I think we were outside of a mall. We were in the car, and I told her I wasn't kissing her until we were official. Like there were gonna be no
That's
kissing.
right, man. You hold on to your standards as a man.
Yes. Yes.
You're not finna just take advantage
then
of you.
finally-
Just high five.
we made it official, and then we shared our first kiss, and then it was a wrap. But our thing happened quick. I don't know how quick y'all happened, because we was engaged, married within 9 months.
It took me almost a whole school year just to get her to date me. We started school in August, and school got out in June. So that whole time I was in the friend zone.
So how long did you guys date before you got engaged, then before you got married?
16, 17,
We dated for 3 years.
Before engaged.
Yeah.
So
We were
3
engaged
years.
for 1 year, and then we got married. No, wait, that's wrong.
No, that's right. 4 years total.
No, because we got married in 2004.
That's 4 years total. 2000, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we dated for 3, engaged for 1, then married in the 4th year.
Wow.
Wait, so how old were you then when you got married? 24? Where you?
21
20.
and 20. I was 21, she was 20.
Damn.
And it's crazy because we were the last of our friend group to get married, and the last of our friend group, yes, the last to get married, and the
Was this in the
last
South?
to have kids. So it was like, dang, Kevin and Melissa getting married. Like, it's like we were the final ones, not the first one. So all of our friends were having children and marriages early. Melissa's sister actually got married before we did.
Dang, yo. Wait, so
Or no,
Fort
she
Lewis,
didn't.
where's that
She
at?
got married
a
3
few
months
months
after
after
us.
us.
Yeah. But she already had a baby. Aunt, my
Where-
friend Aunt had gotten married before us. Everybody had gotten married or had a kid.
Where's
A lot
Fort
of our
Lewis
friends
at?
older. Huh?
Fort Lewis, where's that at? That's where you guys were at,
Washington
right?
State.
Oh, Washington State. Okay.
I thought you were about to hit me with like some Bama or
Like,
something.
'cause that sounds real
No.
southern.
Tacoma, Washington.
Getting married that's crazy. No,
Man.
we were past 30.
Well,
Wait,
I was
but don't
29.
tell too much of this story because these are questions I want to ask
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We'll do ours later.
Okay, so then
Oh yeah, wait. We didn't set that up. This is a 2-part series. Everybody listening, like the first part of this episode is on Nights at the Round Table, and we're interviewing them already. We're in the midst of that, and then the second part is going to be on the Love Hour, and you can finish listening to this episod on their podcast, and they're going to be asking us questions. So it's
all that to
tag
say,
team.
please go follow them and everything
Tag
that they
team.
do. What I was gonna say was, I remember me at 21. I didn't like me too much at 21. I was kind of all over the place. I was still trying to be a little player, and I wasn't even a good player because I wasn't good. Like I was such a romantic that I would think I was cool, but like the second a girl liked me back, like I was already in love. I was like, I'm one of those dudes. So I could never be with like 2 people because I'm like hooked. I'll be trying to play aloof and be like, yeah, what's up, girl? You know, what's up? And then she hollered back, and then I'm like, oh my God, do you want to be with me? And then that's it.
That's all I needed.
So
I love you.
I'm not a good player. I'm not a good player at all. But I know for sure, maturity wise, I was not good at all either. So at 21 getting married, like what is that like?
Also, I thought we were going to go here with this. How have you guys changed from 20s to now? And what is that like, getting married so young and evolving as adults, as humans, evolving in your faith, evolving in your politics or ideologies or whatever it is? Sometimes people can evolve like this from each other. How have you guys maintained from 20 to now, same page?
Girl.
So that's a great question.
So, girl.
Girl, listen.
I want us both to answer. We said this in the Love Our Live when we toured it. One of the greatest misconceptions about being married so young and being married for a long time is that everything is easy because you've known each other for so long. But what is hard, like if we met when we were 30, there's so much of your personality that is developed at that time. We met when we were 16. We're pretty much very close since then to now. So getting married, we literally had all these firsts together. We graduated college. We were already married. First, Melissa had never lived with anybody. Melissa had never lived alone, actually. She lived with her parents, obviously, then to college. So when she moved in with me, it was the first time living with a man.
First of all, my dad was very present.
That was trying to have sex with you, though.
Hello? Let's pause for a minute.
So, a man that wasn't related to you, he wasn't trying to take you down. I was.
Shut up.
So, there's our first real job, our first pregnancy, our first kid, our first getting fired from a job, first, financial crisis, second kid, like all of these things are happening. Melissa was there when I realized now I never was built for a regular job, but I had to go through that process with her. So when I got fired from Key Bank, she was expecting me to say, oh yeah, I'm going to go, find another job at a bank. And I was like, yeah, this is a great time for me to pursue stand-up full time. And she was like, what? You know what I mean? So, and she come from her money story is her, I'm sorry?
How old were you at that time when you got fired?
So I got fired in 2009, September 2009. So
about 10 years ago, 11 years ago.
25? Yeah, 25. And I'm like, this is God talking to me. Go pursue your dreams. She was like, no, this is God telling you to get your act together and work this job. So there was a lot of turmoil in that, and even outside factors like her parents got divorced, and that had a really big impact on our marriage. So evolving together is very difficult because there's some parts of your personality that you are used to, or your wife's personality that you are used to. So Melissa 2.0, this is her current version, and this version is not as easy as the previous ones. The previous version, Melissa was like, I'm going to be more subdued and let you lead and not challenge you. And then somewhere along the way, she was like, man, forget all that. I'm about to say what I want to say. And I had forgotten how strong she could be, because she was like that when we first started dating. But somewhere along the way, she was like, you're my husband, I'm going to submit and all this. And then about around Christmas of last year, she was like, nope, we off that. So learning how to adjust, and mind you, she has her own, this same thing for me. So it's tough. But like, the crazy thing is, Manny, I want to answer your question now. The very first 2 or 3 years of marriage were like very cool. Like, we got to live together. We got a kid, but it wasn't very tumultuous. Like probably the first 2 years, maybe even 3 years. But then as time went on, we dealt with some stuff. So, but like last year might would have been one of our toughest years of marriage. And that was the 15th year or 14th year.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. So did you turn it up a lot? Yeah. Okay.
Should I go back down?
Yeah, super loud.
I couldn't hear.
I felt like Angela was in my house.
That's what I wanted to.
So last year was the thing that we are expecting in year 1 or 2 happened in year 14 and 15.
Wow.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because usually, I know they say typically the hardest things or the leading causes of divorce are finances and sex. Those are the 2 leading causes, which really is the lack of communication about finances and the lack of communication about sex. With us, we were already so old that we kind of worked everything out. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like we were both out of debt. We both had our own houses. We both had our own cars. We both had a career that was already running.
Yeah.
So everything that people typically deal with, we just didn't deal with it. We just hit the ground running. We were both at the same speed, which...
And that kind of leads to, like, our difficult year thus far was year one because...
Really?
Well, because we were traveling apart.
Yeah, that wasn't hard for me.
Okay, hard for me. So, this is why. This is what happened. Because we got back from our honeymoon the next weekend. I went on tour. He went on tour. Right? So, we were apart for months.
6 months.
At a time. Right?
Oh, wow.
And
it was 6 months. The first 6 months we were touring.
it was hard for me because all I knew was marriage that you see in your own families or on TV and movies. And so what you see in TV and movies is 9 to 5 marriages. So I was wondering, when do we get normal married time? When do we get to have breakfast together? When do we get to go to the grocery store together? When do we get to go to a friend's birthday party together? When do we get to do normal married time? And so that was like a source of contention for me. And I would want what I didn't have and what I thought was normal, what I thought was being kept from me. And so it wasn't until, like, I would like pray for that and like ask God, like, what the heck, God, like, when do I get to have normal married time? And it wasn't until I felt God tell me, this is your normal. And I had to shift my perspective and accept, which I'm learning in now is radical acceptance. But back then I just needed to accept, this is my normal. How do we make this work for us? And how do we find our connection time? And we went to a therapist at the time who was amazing and was teaching us how to have intimacy when we're far apart from each other. And so we would employ some of those tools into our lives. But it wasn't until that happened, that switch of perspective and the advice from therapists, that I started to like ease up on my expectations. And then I was able to receive what I actually had and how dynamic we actually were.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's
I still to this day, and I'm not trying to say this like aloof, but I still don't feel like we've had a rough.
Well, wait till 15. Apparently, that's
rough
when it's
year.
about to hit.
I think
so.
there have been like little blips of like, this could get rough if we don't handle this correctly.
Right.
But every time there was that like really tough whatever, and we got through it, we just got so much stronger that I don't even remember it being like a thing. Like I don't see any of the negative things that have happened as negative or bad, because they like thrusted us towards each other even stronger, and we got so much tighter that I'm like, oh, I can't even see this as bad, even though everyone else would see it as bad.
I think. Go ahead.
So sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, go ahead. Go for it.
So when you got fired, right, and then getting back to like the evolving differently, and how did you guys maintain connection and evolving together? What was it like for you when he was like, I want to pursue my dreams of stand-up, and you're like, we got bills, we got a child, or whatever it was? Like, how was that for you?
You just had a reenactment. That's how I was. That's exactly what happened. By the time Kev got fired, we had both kids, and Joe was like probably 9 months.
No, he's over a little over a year.
A little over a year.
He's like 18 months.
Oh, he's like barely walking. He
was like, I'm Jewish.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I remember.
Jewish.
I guess he was over 9 months because he was talking like that.
Because that video I
Yeah.
found. I'm Jewish.
Okay, so Joe is, basically 2 kids under 4. We had a mortgage, and I'm just like, all of our bills are set up for 2 household income. And I don't make 2 incomes, so how you expect this to work? And he was just like, Kev is very much like an optimist. So if there is $100,000 to be made, he is going to make $100,000, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, I am plan A, and plan A will work. Don't at me about a plan B, because if you have a plan B, that means you don't trust plan A, which means you don't trust me, which makes me feel like I'm not a man. And now we're on this whole spiral, and I'm just trying to figure out, just in case coronavirus is a thing. Let's have a backup plan. So,
Oh, nobody expected a global pandemic.
and that's why you prepare for it.
Yeah, you know what's funny
And
about
that's
that?
why you prepare for it.
We were looking into. We'll talk about this on our next episode of our podcast. We were trying to get a house, and Melissa was like, "What if X, Y, and Z happens?" I was like, "I always got tours. I got this." And then Corona came. I was like, "Well, I actually don't always have tours." I never expected, to not be able to do stand up. Like, that is the stuff Melissa prepares for. And I'm like, girl, how I ain't gonna be able to perform? How I ain't gonna be able to perform? And I'm like, oh shoot, well, dang. Actually, I can't perform right now. And that was part of our income. So she was right. Maybe this whole thing is God letting you be right to me.
Listen, do it, God. May your will be done.
Yes.
So it was hard. I'm not gonna lie. It was very, very difficult. I was stressed to the max. Kev was alluding to my money story, and it's all about security. Like, my memories are like my dad sitting at our kitchen table, taking out checkbooks before, bill pay was a thing, balancing his checkbook, writing out physical checks, sticking them in an envelope, putting a stamp on it. Those are the things that I remember, and those are the things that were like instilled in me. So security is very important to me. Like, that's really important to me. So the thought of having 2 kids, having a mortgage, having a car note, having these bills, and you were just like, I'm going to go chase my dreams and it's going to happen. No, bruh. That's real. You got to come back down to life.
Let me tell you what I told Melissa that she did not go for. When I was trying to convince her to move to LA,
oh my gosh.
I was like, Tyler Perry was homeless, sleeping in his car. And he made it. She was like, boy, I am not no Tyler Perry.
When
I was like, no. I'm Tyler Perry.
No,
I'm not staying homeless in no car.
No, this is what I said. Kev was talking about Tyler Perry, and I said, well, that'll never be my testimony.
Oh, yeah, that is
because I am college educated, and so are you, which means we can get a job.
But Tyler Perry, he looked out the window. It was raining, and there was a line
Tyler
out the
Perry's
window.
Testimony.
I wanted it too. He had to have a dream of it.
It's Tyler Perry's testimony.
Listen,
that story has been told.
Been told.
Oh,
Okay?
that's a word right there,
It sure
Angela.
is. Listen, I was out here like, no, sir, that is never, ever going to be my test. I will work at McDonald's before you talking about being homeless and sleeping in somebody's car. Sir, cut it out. So it was a source of contention, definitely. But it's so funny now that I'm thinking about it, like in this moment, we were arguing, the source of contention was about different things. So what I am arguing is security. And we need to have some sort of monetary income coming in to support our bills and these kids. Kev is arguing, I want you to believe in me.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I didn't have, neither one of us had the knowledge. Like, I literally just got that revelation in this moment.
Yep.
You don't have that information then at the time to say, we're actually having a conversation about 2 different things. How can we go through and reconcile that? How can I support your dreams, and how can you make me feel secure that our bills are going to be paid? That's the best way to approach this. But instead, you need to get a job, you need to get a job, you need to get a job. And he is crying internally because he feels like he's dying slowly, clocking in, and he has this wife that doesn't support or believe in him.
And a white woman would believe in me and work her job and give me her taxes.
Well, go find her. Karen.
And that is the funny thing. You put your wig in my mouth. But that is how it is when you're a dreamer. It's either support my plan wholeheartedly or you don't believe in me at all.
Right.
There's no, you don't even process. And I tell people all the time, when you move to LA to be a star, these people are crazy. And I'm these people. The amount of, belief in yourself, it is insane because your chance of success is so low. You really have to believe in yourself against, normal people. You would think, okay, the chances of me making it very slim. Let me just work my regular job. But for you to give up, we had 2 full-time good jobs at the Boeing company, right? And me and Melissa used to call it the chocolate factory because they hadn't hired anybody young there, anybody period, in 5 years. So they hired me and her on different programs So our family and friends and people at church were like, "Oh, y'all got them good jobs. Y'all need to stay over that Boeing. You got to do the 401k. You get the benefits and we used to get bonuses every Christmas. Like, it is ludicrous to give all of that up and move to Los Angeles, which is 3 times as expensive as Washington. And everybody and their mom is also trying to move here and make it. And we still did that. And I really was like, Melissa, if you don't come here, you don't love me and you don't believe in me.
So tell us about that switch. Like, when did it happen that you got on board with him? And well, clearly that's what it was. You got on board because you guys came down. So what was that like?
I would say, honestly, it was, first of all, I feel like God just gave me a peace. And that's not to sound like super lofty or spiritual, but like, I really do believe there came a point where I was like, God, we ain't gonna make it. We ain't gonna make it. And so I need to figure out what is the right thing to do. And actually it was twofold. So it was me saying, okay, God, I'm gonna just follow my husband literally. And this is literally, I post this almost every March 1st because that's when we moved to LA. And there was a scandal episode where Olivia Pope talks about following her man over a cliff. And I posted that on my Instagram. Today is the day, on my Facebook. Today is the day I follow my man over a cliff. And that was the sense of peace that I had, that was like, I'm going and we are going to go to LA and we are going to follow this man's dream. And if we crash and burn, we're about to do it together. I am now on his team. We are no longer opposing each other. But it helped before you, I don't know what you're finna say. Don't cut me off.
I know. I'm about to say the same thing I'm finna say.
Okay.
Go ahead.
But in addition, or I guess in combination, God was working through the both of us. Because what happened while this is happening to me, also Kevin created this Frederick's Manifest Destiny.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay, good.
You know me.
I really do. Like, I'm not being super spiritual, but like, seriously, I really do feel like God was like, let me help them because they finna head to divorce. I have it in my phone. Kev created this Manifest Destiny, and it was literally him answering all of my questions. So it was like, first of all, he was like, I feel like we are so much bigger than what Tacoma, Washington has.
Oh, let me read the first paragraph.
Okay, go.
I never deleted it. It's Frederick's Family Manifest Destiny, destined to expand.
That was what it was called.
I believe that God has given us an opportunity to fully utilize the gifts He's given us, and
Slow
to
down
have.
So people can hear you.
I believe that God has given us an opportunity to fully utilize the gifts He's given us, and to have a life we've only dreamed of. I believe our new life. I got a typo in my Manifest Destiny. I believe our new life. I was so busy writing it, I didn't even double check. You know what I mean, God. I believe our new life is just around the corner, and with planning and faith, we will reap the full benefits of God's plan for us. The scripture I'm basing this decision off of is Genesis 24 and 27, and said, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to just read these 2 paragraphs. And said, blessed be the Lord God of my master Abraham, who has not left my master bereft and destitute of his loving kindness and steadfastness. As for me, going on the way of obedience and faith, the Lord led me to the house of my master's kinsman. The servant activated active dependence. He was sent to find a wife for Isaac. And he embarked on the journey, but depended on God to guide him to the right woman. That's exactly what we are doing. We are embarking on the journey towards our destiny. What God has planned for us is bigger than Washington.
That's what I remember. Bigger
than the church's name. It's even bigger than you and I. We have a place in His plan for the nation, for the world. We are walking in that path. Another typo. The following is the beginning plan, which will be the launching point for the move. And then I have house, cost of move, job, new
church.
jobs, new house, school, church, update, next steps, living. And I sent all this to her
because those were the questions that I had circled around. Where we gonna live? Where we gonna work? Where the kids gonna go? Like, those were like all of my hesitations. And so when he presented this plan, that's probably at the point where I was like, all right, God, we finna follow. He's answered every question that I have had to my satisfaction. I can no longer fight this for the sake of fighting it.
However, I also was wilding, y'all.
He was.
The house part of the plan, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I was basically like, let's just go to foreclosure. We don't need the house. We'll figure out how to do that. I've already talked to the realtor. Basically, what they said is trick the bank and tell them we had to move out because of our jobs. We weren't able to keep up the payments. and we couldn't sell our house. So Melissa was like, why don't we just rent it? And I was like, oh, that's the actual great point. I don't know why I never thought about renting it so our credit isn't destroyed. So it was an opportunity for us to like, we worked on the plan together. I submitted it to her. She went through and said, well, what about this? What about that? And then once we had an agreeable plan, it wasn't me saying we got to move. It was us saying, let's move together. That's why if we did fail, completely, then at least we failed with the best of intentions and we failed agreeing.
Because what'll happen is, let me tell you, how we try to move and I was just like, fine, whatever, we gonna do this. The moment he failed, see, your little dreams got us over here and now we living like Tyler Perry. We got 2 kids and we out here living in the car. You know how much rent is in LA? You can't borrow $15,000. I don't have enough friends to borrow that. You know how expensive it is out here to live?
Yeah.
I feel like I relate to both of you in this situation. I relate to you as a wife, and then I relate to you as that dreamer going for it. And what's so interesting, and I'll share when we get to y'all's podcast, but like people would tell me like, oh, you're so brave for going for your dreams. You're so brave for like taking a risk and stepping out. But you are brave times 4 because you stepped out and believed in yourself so hard that you were willing to bring your wife and children along with you for this journey. Like you believed so hard in yourself. Like I believed so hard in myself, but that was just me. If I didn't make it, then that's fine. Whatever, in the words of Kev on stage, it's whatever, but it could be whatever. But like, so I commend you deeply for just believing so hard in yourself and having faith in yourself to bring your family. And then I feel you 100 as well in the, okay, but what about reality though? What about that part? Like,
yeah, I don't really live in reality either. I'm kind of a dreamer. I don't know how else to live. Like when I started music in 94, I was still recording the tape decks and I was just like this little kid that literally just felt like this was going to be my path. And then everything else was just around it. And it was literally like, I went to college, but I went because it was like, well, I'm not signed yet. I got 4 years to go. So let me just go to college and let's see what does. Yeah. So I went to Bible college because I was like, all right, let me get a degree and I want to learn more about Jesus. So let me go to Bible college. That's where we'll go. I literally show up there and they're like, what do you want to major in? And I'm like, I don't care. I'm just here for the fun of it. I'm going to be a musician. And they're like, wait, are you being serious right now? And I'm like, yeah. What's the least boring major? And they're like, well, do you like TV? I was like, yeah, I love TV. They're like, well, do communications. I was like, cool, sign me up. I don't even know what it is. I don't know what communications is. I was just like, TV, sign me up. Let's do this. And I stumbled my way through it. Graduated top of my class, Summa, because I got to be the best at everything.
You what? You were just like, okay, I picked this, I win also.
Yeah. No, I graduated like 3.975. I got a couple awards for like creating PSAs, things that I didn't even know I didn't know how to do before I started. Made like 4 movies, learned how to edit. I did all these things, and this was all just as a byproduct while I'm heading towards the dream. Then I get out of college. My friends go on to work for NBC, ABC, whatever. I go and I become a balloon animal man. This is why. Because
did you really do this?
He lives in Orlando at the time.
I'm in Orlando.
So he's right by Disney World where all the restaurants are. Okay. So he was in the restaurants while people are eating dinner and he's like...
Exactly. So here's the thing. I'm praying to the sweet baby Jesus and I'm like, Lord, what I need right now is a job that I'm my own boss. I make my own hours and I can make a lot of money. And as I'm praying, I'm laughing because I'm like, this is the most selfish, unrealistic job description you have ever, like, this ain't even cool.
Yeah.
The next day, a homeboy of mine, while I'm helping them move out of their dorm, is like, hey man, do you want to come do balloon animals? I was like, full. I just got a 4 degree, graduated with honors. I can go work anywhere, and you asking me about balloon animals? Like, be serious. And he was like, okay, but you can make your own schedule. You're your own boss, and you can make a lot of money. And I was like,
wow.
Oh, sweet Jesus, I think I'm gonna be a balloon. I didn't even think twice. I didn't try to reason. I was just like, I'm in. Where do I need to go? I trained for a week. And I started doing it. And in the 2.5 years that I did Balloon Animal Man, I not only got out of $40,000 worth of debt, just doing balloon animals. I only worked at max 12 hours a week. That was a full-time Balloon Animal Man maker.
12 hours a week?
12 hours a week. And the rest of the time I spent making music, just going hard for the dream. So I made...
Tips.
That's it. Just tips.
People
so I would make
come on
anywhere
vacation.
from like $250, $350 a night, and I only worked 3 hours shifts.
A night?
Yeah. So I would go around I would go, and I wouldn't even really work 3 hours a night. I can do the whole round in the restaurant in about 15 minutes because I was so fast. And then I would go to my car and I would work on beats, work on music, write songs, go back in, do another 15-minute round, leave, write music. On the way home, I would stop at my homeboy's house. We would record. I go home and sleep and do it all again. By the time I finished with that, I was out of debt and I landed my record deal with Warner. Right at the end of it when I paid my last.
God was just flexing. He was like, watch this. I'm finna make you make balloon animals. But it also is going to answer your prayer though. So just.
But here's what I think about. I think about it. I'm like, but that's like 12 years later. I was doing it since 94. I got signed in 2006.
Wow.
If the Lord told me, hey man, it's going to take you 12 years to make it, I don't think I would have done it. To be honest, I don't think. At that time, I would have been like, 12 years? You telling me I'm going to do this for 12 years and not make a single dollar?
An animal guy.
Yeah. And just do this? And when it finally happened, I was like, oh my Lord, like this is for real. And then here's the caveat. Fast forward, let's say another 6 years. So I'm signed, touring the world, having a blast. I end up in West Virginia, this little podunk church, and these people are working my merch table. And the mom comes up to me and says, I know this is going to be a crazy question, but did you ever make balloon animals in Orlando at a Chevy's restaurant?
Wow.
And I was like, who are you real quick? And she's like, you made us balloon animals and you sold us your CD that we still have. She's like, do you remember my son who you made the balloon animal with, which was literally probably like 6 years old at the time? Wow. She's like, there he is over there. This fool was 6'7",
wow.
plays for like basketball for his college. Oh the daughter's God. Raised up. I walk up to the kid and I'm like, yo, you remember me? He's like, yo, you made me that motorcycle. I was like, what the? And now these people are working my merch table. Wow. I was like, won't you do it, God? Won't you do it? Because I remember how humble I had to stay when I literally had to serve my friends who I graduated above in our class ranking. Right. I graduated above them. They would come in with their kids, already with their jobs, with the security, with the benefits. Manny, what are you still doing here?
Man, I'm like, these animals. Do you want the dog or not?
I'm just, yeah, right. I look like that guy. I'm just trying to be a balloon. I'm just trying to be a musician, man. You know, here's your thing. And I remember like feeling the humility of it, of like, man, I'm that typical person. I'm that typical person who has a dream and is doing whatever it takes to make it, not knowing if I'm ever going to get out of Orlando. And now when I went back to those people, they had to all interview me for their ABC networks, for their NBC, for their TBN.
Big G-O-T.
And so the roles switched. Man. So that's when I say, yo, I'm a dreamer through and through. There can't be nothing. I tell Anj all the time, I'm like, what dreams do you want to chase? I literally will be like, We will move out this house. I will sell my cars. If you tell me you want to produce your own TV show, let's do it. If you tell me you want to, when our Bunquiqui tour, when I wrote the Bunquiqui record for her, that got signed to Warner Brothers. Then we went out and we toured it, and we had to front the money for our tour, which was a lot of money.
It is.
But it was like what y'all talking about. It's like, look, I'm down for you. Like, I believe in this girl because I see every time she tells me her story of how she made it, I literally tear up. And at the same time, I'm like, I always say I fall in love with her all over again because I'm such a dreamer at heart.
Oh my God.
That when I see a dreamer, you know what I'm saying? When I see her do what she says she's going to do, man, that's so like, because there's so many people out there that has the dream. And they never do it because they let fear, they let responsibility, they let all this stuff get in front of them. So it's rare to find somebody that says, I'm going to do this. And then they go do it. Whether it works or not, there's a courage, there's a success in just doing it and just seeing something in your mind and your heart and then making it come into reality. That is hard, man. Forget about succeeding in it. It's success just to create it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So big ups on Kev to even,
I have
That was great.
a couple questions
That
from
was
fans for you guys. A couple questions from fans. Okay, this is a good one. This is from Andra. What advice would you give to single friends who desire to marry and living right, but it hasn't happened yet?
Ooh, I'm going to give some, from yesterday?
Sure.
So we just had Shan Booty on the podcast last night, which was amazing. If you're listening to this, Andrea, I definitely recommend you listen to it, girl. It was really, really good stuff. But one of the things
It's on Patreon, though.
It's on her Patreon. Okay.
So she can't.
Sorry, girl. Sorry.
You can send me the link.
I'll send you the link there. One of the things that Shan talks about is she calls it dating with dominance, which is really just dating with intentionality.
Intentionality. It's all right.
It's like, boy, I struggle. Wording is where is to hear. You done got in my tongue. So that means, and so what that means, she calls it your frozen five. When I was younger, my mom called them our non-negotiables, which is basically what are the things that you are not willing to budge in a partner, and then line up the people that you are picking. Are they measuring up? Are you just picking someone because you're lonely? Are you picking someone to pass the time? Are you picking someone just because? And if you are doing that, then you have to look. Second part of that, after you create your list, is looking internally and making sure that you're doing the work to ensure that you are showing up in your relationships the way that you want to. Not this like lofty idea of who you want to be, but like, how am I actually showing up? Evaluate, like really taking a self-assessment of who you are, how you show up. Do you know your love language? Do you know, she called your apology language? Do you know, she even talked about the personality types that work well with you. Do you know why you get angry? What ticks you off? What doesn't? Are you able to articulate those things to your spouse? All of those things, or to your partner, all of those things are important. And that's the work that goes into having a healthy relationship. You do that self-work, you recognize who you are, what you want in a spouse, and then ensure that you are picking people that meet that criteria. It'll revolutionize your dating life.
Mm-hmm. Manny always says something like that too to our friends, single and dating, is like how you were talking about your criteria, your non-negotiables. Are you living up to your own standard?
Yes.
Basically.
Well, I call them the core values because it's very hard. The only way I can tell if somebody is a gym rat or not is if I'm a gym rat. So when they say, if you're going to study, like when it comes to studying forfeiting, like people who forfeit things, you know, they always say, don't study the forfeit, study the original, that you know it so well that you can spot the forfeit.
Counterfeit.
The counterfeit, yeah.
Oh, that's
So-
good, Manny.
So in your own life, how can you spot someone who's integral, who doesn't lie, who is faithful, who is a hard worker? If you are none of those things, you're not going to even know what to look for because you don't model them. So for me, I'm kind of like a no BS kind of guy. Like I don't BS. I'm very straightforward. You know that about me after one conversation. So I can spot a freaking BSer
Yeah.
from a mile away, because I'm like, their language, their excuses, the way they do their life, I'm like, oh, this person, nah. For me, it was easy to pick a mate, because if somebody told me I want to be this, I would give them 6 months. If they ain't anywhere near going towards that goal, then I know they're procrastinators and they don't really mean what they say. And I can't be with you, because there's going to be one day where I'm going to doubt myself. And if you ain't the type of person that sticks to your word, how are you going to keep me accountable? How are you going to be able to say, no, you told me you want to do this, push through the doubt? When you're a compromiser, you're just going to be like, finally, this dude gave up. Hey, it's okay, baby. It's okay. You tried. Let's just ease back and be normal people.
True.
That's good.
That is so.
I ain't got time for that, man.
Our friend Doughboy just started pumping out his content. He texted me today. He was like, I couldn't not do this because you were doing it. Liz is doing it. Tahir's doing it. Tony, Pat, like everybody in my friend group is doing it. So how can I not? And I think that's so true about even of course your mate is important, but your friends, like if your friends ain't about nothing, then more than likely you're not about nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Unless you're the person pulling them up, but then who's inspiring you? So when I see, I be killing it to myself, to other people, right? Not to myself. When I see Angela on the road, I be like, man, Angela did 8 dates in Australia, sold out, and she always take the pictures where she be like this, and there be 8 gazillion people there, and I'm legit happy for her. I'm happy for you, Ange. It's no jealousy, but I'm always looking at people like you. Like, that's my motivation. I'm never looking at other comedians who are maybe featuring for somebody. It's not like shade. It's just like I've got to be looking at my friends who are killing it more than me, so that I can push myself to get there. Right? And that's what, so my friends can look at me like, man, Kev's killing it, but I'm not looking at them. I'm looking at Ange. You know what I'm saying?
I hear that.
That's a smart thing. That's
Yep.
a smart thing. If you're not looking for that better, then it's easy to get complacent. It's like, it's too easy to get complacent.
Yeah, so
Especially if you have people around you that don't have that hunger. That's why they say, like, you heard the saying, misery loves company.
Yes.
Yeah.
That saying is because the unhappiness in me is attracting the unhappiness in you. And the fact that we meet in that place, the Bible talks about deep calls unto deep. And when I hear that, I know, like, the well of life and knowledge and everything in me cries out to someone else that is also swimming in those waters. I cannot mess with people that are in kiddie pools. Right. It just doesn't. Like, we don't have nothing to talk about. You talking about floaties and what color you want to have, and I'm talking about how long I can hold my breath underwater. You know what I'm saying? Like, we in two different pools. So if the saying is misery loves company, then at the same time, then that means success breeds success. That successful people like to be around successful people. They're not intimidated. Like, 2 people that I'll call Joe Coy, which is another big comedian, and Kevin Hart. Both of them, when we spent time with both of them, they were not trying to hide secrets. They were trying to give secrets. Yeah. Kevin talked to us for like an hour after his show, and Joe Coy is constantly, yo, you need to do this. You need this. What you need to do. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. Because they're not afraid of it, which lets me know this is why these people are successful. Because someone had to teach them.
Man, nothing I do, sharing comics hit me up and ask me for advice and are really surprised that I give it. Like, man, I thought you would try to hold out. Like, don't you realize you being successful makes my job easier? If comedy clubs are like, oh, this is 6 or 7 social, like, this works. That means it's easier when I come and want to do a show. You know what I mean? So it doesn't benefit me at all to make you successful, because I need you to have a sold-out show so I can have a sold-out show so more people are aware of stand-up comedy. So I think that's super dope. I wanted to say something else that you just triggered, man, and it's slipping my mind.
Now,
I got it. Hold on one second.
Go.
It was about the dating thing. So Shan, one thing she said last night that I thought was important, she said you need to look at yourself as a potential partner, and are you presenting the best version of yourself? Because she said I was saying all the men in Toronto are trash, when in actuality I was actually kind of trash person. I was disagreeable. I was selfish. She said after she was like 28 when she realized, like, I'm actually the common denominator in all these relationships and why they're failing. And what am I doing that's making it hard to be in a relationship with me? And she said she had to really look in the mirror and really look at herself and do that self-assessment and that self-work. And I don't think we were taught that in dating. Like, what are you? Why would someone want to be with you? What qualities make you desirable? You know what I mean? Is it outside of the physical? Like, why? If somebody has their own list, what are you tick marking off their list? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
She was talking a lot about dating with intention, and she said once she started doing some of that personal work, her prospects of men, were wide. And she said, like, you can't find a good. She was like, if you're dating somebody you want is college educated, God fearing in the church, then you're not going to find that person if you're dating in a club. Like, that person doesn't exist there. So you need to go to where those people are so that you can meet those people. Mm-hmm. So I just want to say that nobody really says you got to work on yourself to be a better potential mate. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the same time, hold yourself to the same accountability, because we're very soft on ourselves. We give ourselves a lot of outs when it's like
so much grace.
So much grace right here. And I just talked about this on our last podcast. I was like, it reminded me of, I had a JV coach, Coach Spain. Dude was round. He was robust. He was very not in shape. And he would bust my balls if I wasn't working out or if I wasn't running. And he was trying to coach me on being healthy and being whatever. And I'm like looking at him like, how are you? And it dawned on me, like, it always made me like, I cannot expect something from someone else that I am not already doing. Absolutely. Because the hypocrisy in it, whenever I ask anything from Anj, I can ask with the utmost confidence because I know I am already have been doing it. So if in her mind she wants to think like, you don't do that, she will never be able to say that. Because I'm never going to come to her and say, I need you to do this if I'm not already doing it. That's just to me, that's just character. Yeah. If I'm going to expect you to stay in shape, I better be in shape. Yeah. If I'm going to expect you to change when I ask you to change, I better be changing when you ask me to change. It's like, so for me, it's that simple. Whatever I'm asking, I better be doing.
That's really good because it also says that what we're talking about doesn't stop at dating. It does go into your marriage.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Always learning, adjusting.
You want to ask them that next question?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, when we were talking about success and our successful friends who have helped us and invested in us, and people are surprised that you respond to them with advice, and you winning is a win for me. There's that, which makes total sense. And there's also the idea and the picture of just gratitude and what we have. Like, you and I have learned things on the road. We have earned things with our experiences, with our mistakes, our trials, our successes, our victories. Like, we have all of this in our hands, and the tighter we hold on to it, there's no room for God to give and bless us with anything else. But the more we just open and like, what do you need from me? Oh, you want to know how to promote a tour? This is how I did my last one. Oh, you want to know how to do a bus tour? This is how we did this. And what do you need from me? I've already learned all these lessons. Why do I need to hold on to these lessons? I've already learned them. Right. So here, you can now learn from these lessons.
And you don't know, which we have learned quickly. We have learned this in the past couple of years. You don't know where someone else is going to end up. We remember seeing Sebastian Maniscalco in a small club in New York.
250 people.
And Anj was selling out 3-4 times the thing. And now this fool is doing arenas all over the world. In what? 5. In 3 years?
To 4 years.
3-4 years?
4 years from that day. He did his 4 nights or 4 shows at Madison Square Garden. And it was 4 years ago. We saw him at Gotham Comedy Club down the street.
You better be helping people out. You better be helping people out.
So when we moved to LA, and luckily it's my personality, Melissa's as well, to treat everyone with respect from top to bottom, CEO to intern. Moved to LA at Osmonds TV. We worked more closely with the assistants of the executives than the actual executives. We moved to LA 9 months later, maybe. Mm-hmm. Each one of those assistants was now the head of a division. So this guy's assistant that scheduled our flight was now the producer on the Mindless Behavior movie. This other one was the producer of this TV show. The other one was booking a Nickelodeon show. And because we treated them with the same kindness and respect, they were like, oh yeah, I'm going to get you on this. And one of these consulting jobs that I'll tell you guys about offline that I got was because the producer on it was a fan of mine, and we bumped into each other at a Chance the Rapper concert, and I was like, oh yeah, man, great, nice, I'll look out for you, and really did. And then they became a producer for Redacted and hooked me up with Redacted, and it all was because I treated her nicely and was like, oh cool, you know what I mean? Like, so you can never go wrong treating everyone right.
Right.
You never have to worry about who's going to become what. And you got to eat some serious crow if you treat the wrong people right. Because the other thing that I've learned in this business is you can be up and then you can be down.
So
you can get a TV show, have it premiere billboards and, you know, Hollywood Boulevard, and that thing can be canceled in 3 episodes, and you right back looking for work with everybody else. And it always helps to be humble on your rise up because you never have to eat crow when you come back down.
That's right. That's right. Lessons. These are great lessons. We could talk to you guys for hours, and we're going to continue on with your podcast now. So everybody listening, we have thoroughly enjoyed chatting with Melissa and Kevin, and we're going to finish chatting with them, but you got to go to their podcast to listen to the rest of this episode.
Part 2, which we will put in the description. We'll put everywhere. So make sure we will make sure that you guys go and follow them.
But go ahead and say audibly right now. Where can people go find you, follow you, and all the things?
You can follow To Hear Part 2, the Love Hour podcast on what?
I thought you were talking about To Hear. I was like, why are you telling them to follow To Hear?
Oh no, the Love Hour podcast.
To Hear.
Yeah, To Hear. The Love Hour podcast on all audio listening platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the things. And then you can follow me personally at Miss Kev on Stage on all social media platforms.
Kev on Stage on all except TikTok. It's Kev on Stage TikTok because someone stole my name on TikTok.
Rude.
Thirsty.
What can you do with my name? People aren't going to follow you if you're not me.
I don't understand why people
You just annoyed me. That's all you did was annoy me.
They do it so they can sell it back to you.
Yeah.
I ain't going to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. I will be Kev on Stage 1986 before I will be paying you any money.
You can buy it for $5. You won't get a dime out of me. Kev on Stage 1986 is just fine with me.
Yes. Thank you all so much for listening. Oh, you want to do our benediction? Babe?
Yeah,
we
I'll do our benediction. We usually say this at the end of anything, and we'll usually toast it. But let's just toast together.
Okay.
We pray that you always find a seat at the table, but if you don't, you're always welcome at ours. Cheers.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. Bye.